Hey guys, welcome back in to Banter Bets and BPL after a long international break, a palate cleanser, if you will. A little bit time away from the game to clear our heads. I know Coach Cam was taking long walks down the beach, looking out over the sea to clear his head and get back ready for the stretch run here. The final few weeks, what do we got? 10 or so games of Premier League action yet left. We still got a positive betting podcast, so we're looking to finish this season strong. Let's go into Coach Cam, who was plus 23.44 last week. Cam, do you remember any of your bets from what seems like eons ago?
It was I can't remember the specifics of my bets, but I know I bet all, because there's only 4 games last game week. I bet all 4 teams in a parlay, and then I also bet like 2 of those teams in a parlay, and then the other 2 teams in a separate parlay. And then I had Patrick Bamford scoring. And then I know that I got the Leeds win and the Tottenham win, which was nice because I was one of the parlays. And then I got Patrick Bamford scoring. And then on a personal note, because Bet365 was handing out free money, I have early payout. And I ended up getting the West Ham win before they actually won, because they didn't. They ended up drawing. So I ended up hitting all 4 of my bets personally from Bet365. So thank you. Any Bet365, coordinators that are listening to the podcast. But because they ended up drawing, I was only plus 23.44. They ended up winning, it would have been plus 210 or something like that.
Yeah,
so it was a really good week for me.
Almost had an amazing week, but West Ham blew a 3-0 lead. Craziness. Yeah. Second time it's happened to this podcast in a West Ham game. I know Uncle Dev, when he first came on, had $50 on Spurs back in, September, October, and then they blew their 3-0 lead to West Ham. So West Ham and 3-0 leads, you just never know what's going to happen. Maybe that's the least safe lead in football, a 3-0 lead in a game involving West Ham.
That's true.
Brother Keegs, +9. Do you remember any of your bets?
Yeah, not really. I remember it was that obviously dry slate combined with the FA Cup. I think we came through. Leeds came through huge for Great Grandma, or for Grandma this time.
Yeah.
So thanks Leeds for pretty much making me all the money, and I missed all the other bets. So whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As soon as we made that bet for Grandma, Fulham was done. So sorry, Fulham. I know you guys are in the middle of it, but the power of Grandma and Great Grandma just overpowers you. And Sandy, -25. That's not what we like to see. What happened there?
Well, that's what happened when you have a winless slate, boys. I think I had 3 bets. I had West Ham. That was a tough one.
It was long ago anyway, so let's just forget about it and move on.
And I guess I had Fulham too. So you guys put the voodoo curse, the grandma curse on Fulham, so I had no chance in that one.
Yeah.
And I was on Newcastle, and they got rolled by Brighton. Just rolled. So bad week.
Finally saw some life out of Brighton. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I'd say we're going to leave that in the past. And as always, we're looking to move on and win some money this weekend. Premier League's finally back. I don't know about you guys, but I watched. Well, I do know because you guys told me before the show, but I don't think any of us watched any international footy, so it was kind of nice to get a little 2-week break, refresh the mind, right, guys? We're ready to go.
I didn't enjoy the 2-week break. My fantasy team was finally picking up 3 wins in a row, I think, and then was making some money betting. So I think the break came at a bad time for me.
Bad time for Keegan. He's in form, and now you got to play me in fantasy this weekend too. That's tough.
And I saw Harry Kane scored a goal, I'm pretty sure, over the international break. So he's in form.
Against San Marino.
Macedonia.
One of those.
A goal's a goal. A goal's a goal.
There we go. All right, we'll start things off bright and early tomorrow morning, Saturday, April 3rd. Chelsea at home to West Brom. Not much to say about West Brom. Not much to say about this game in particular, but looking ahead to Chelsea, Keegan, how bad would it be if Chelsea won the Champions League? How unbearable would it be on a scale of 1 to 20?
Probably 25. I mean, when you wrote that question down, I was like, well, I mean, obviously they're not going to win. There's so many better teams in it, but I think the draw couldn't have worked out any better for them. They got Porto now.
Yeah.
And then I think all 3 of the teams that are easily better than them happen to be on the other side. So if they win, they play Liverpool or Real Madrid, who I think are beatable as well. And then you come up to the final when anything can happen. So I think they lucked out with the draw, and this could be an emergency.
Yeah, we might need to intervene. We might need to get Grandma on the case for this one and curse Chelsea. Yeah, that would be horrible. West Brom are done, of course. So I don't know. We'll see them in a couple years when they inevitably get promoted again. Yeah, not much value on this game. Anyone? 15 on West Brom?
I would love to. I really want to hit and grab that, but I don't think I'm actually going to. It looks a little enticing because, I don't know. When I was looking at the line, there's a lot of numbers that I was like, one of the underdogs are gonna hit this week. You just have to find which one, and it could be West Brom. Who knows?
Yeah, anytime I see a number that's like 12 or higher, I almost get sucked into betting it just because. But I don't know. Chelsea doesn't concede many goals. West Brom doesn't score many. I don't know if there's a route for this one to happen. So we'll move along to another game with a team that's definitely getting relegated. Leeds Sheffield United. I was thinking about Sheffield United. They're obviously gone, Sandy, but do you think they're a team that gets promoted next year? They seem to have a bit of they've had a solid foundation. They did just fire Wilder though, which was probably not the best move, especially the way they went about it. Do you think they have the stability to bounce back up to the Premier League, or are they a Sunderland till I die in the making?
I'm not sure they're a Sunderland until I die. They don't quite have that name value. You don't quite think Sheffield and then a notable club, but no, I think there's no chance they get promoted again next year. That team is just lost it all.
Yeah,
you have to be pretty good to get promoted from the Championship. You have to have a little bit of flair. Like, I don't know if that's true, but you have to be able to score some goals. I just can't see Sheffield scoring goals against anyone the way their roster is currently constructed. I know they're going to get any better. So I see them struggling next year in the Championship.
Jeez, a scathing indictment on Sheffield's future for Sandy.
I'm so down on Sheffield right now.
He's very down. There you go. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. This Leeds is obviously a better team. Only 1.5. Is anyone throwing Leeds in a parlay? It seems like parlay material to me. I bet you Cam's got them in a parlay.
I'm not. It's funny you say that. I actually had a big parlay on my phone with like all the favorites. I was like, what if they just all the favorites hit this week and you make a ton of money? But then I was like, that's the stupidest thing ever. I'm not going to do that. So I don't have them. But I had all 10 games, all favorites in one parlay. Because I was thinking, like, what if that happens? Like,
the ultimate chalk parlay. I think Leeds probably ran away with this one, but I don't know. 1.5, not a ton of value. So we'll move on to a bigger game, and huge news out of Manchester City this week. So we're going to go into Coach Cam, the fan. Sergio Aguero, your best ever striker for sure. Maybe best player. Definitely best player, probably of the their new era Man City. Forever be remembered for the Aguero goal. Against QPR. Coach Cam, your thoughts on Sergio announcing he'll be leaving Manchester City at the end of the season?
This is like the saying that all good things must come to an end. It kind of sucks because I thought that it would end a little later. It's a little bittersweet because the bitter part is he's been such a class player. He's one of the best international players that came to the Premier League. Just full of goals, and because of injury, he hasn't really played that much this season. And I would rather him, I don't know, it would have been, obviously, maybe it's too good to be true, but a little better for him to have a season where he gets 10, 11, 12 goals and then leaves the club, because him leaving the club now, it's tough because he's leaving on not really doing anything this season.
You think he goes on a run maybe to finish the season real strong now?
I actually think that because he did that, maybe there's more pressure on Pep to give him the last 3-4 games. I don't know who owns Aguero, but whoever owns Aguero or Aguero owners, if you're listening, keep him and start him, because I can see in the last 4 or 5 games after they've locked up the title.
Prem, yeah, that's a great point.
He'll play for sure. He'll play like a ton. They'll get him the last few minutes, and the last games. But yeah, it's sweet because Like I just said, he's been doing pretty poorly. He's just not the same player. Even when he's fit, as he's saying, he's just not the same. So I don't want him to kind of drag it along at City for a couple more years, and then he just like kind of just gets old and not good and dusty. So
Dusty.
it's nice to see. Yeah, it's nice to see him go.
Where does he go next?
That's a good question. I thought it would be the MLS, but I don't think he's the MLS player. I think he's going to go back to Argentina.
Yeah.
Play there. Finish there.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But he was absolutely world class. Yeah, absolute world class. And yeah, one of the best Premier League strikers ever. I think he's like a top 5 ever, I think. So.
Do you have a second favorite Aguero moment? We all know what the first one would be. Do you have a second favorite?
Yeah. That's a tough question. I don't know why, but this was 2 seasons ago. They played against Chelsea, and it's Bernardo Silva squared the ball across. I don't know if you remember, squared the ball across the net. At the Etihad, and he missed. Like literally from like 1 yard away, he missed at the back post.
Aguero did?
Aguero did. And in that same game, he ended up scoring a hat trick. 1 goal being like a 35-yard curler, top right corner. I don't know if you remember that game.
I do remember, because I was thinking of some more other Aguero moments. I do remember like an absolute, like I think he was outside of the box, kind of on a tight angle, and he just hammered one top shelf on check against Chelsea.
Yeah.
I remember that being one of his nicest goals.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of, that's another thing. I don't know if like summing it up to one moment's tough, but I think Aguero's really captured what I call the Aguero finish, where it's when he gets the ball just inside the box and he's able to fire it near post. He's probably scored like 60 plus goals just like that. And I've deemed that the Aguero shot, the Aguero goal. So it's pretty nice that he's leaving with a lot of good memories. He has like 9 player of the month.
Lots of good memories.
Yeah, 4 Premier League titles. No Champions League title. Maybe a Champions League title, actually. That'd be nice if he was able to win the Champions League.
That would be the
have everything.
Cinderella finish.
Yeah, he literally have everything. So, but yeah, enough talk about Aguero. I can gush about him all day.
Yeah, there we go. My last thing was, I remember his first ever game, got subbed on with 15 minutes left against Swansea and scored 2 goals and an assist. And I tripped over myself running to the Fantasy Premier League website to pick him up before his price went up. That was back when we played the price game, and a fantasy stud for 10 years after that. So,
exactly. And I guess another good I just thought of this was the 5 goals against Newcastle. It's probably another great display by him. That's always gonna be memorable.
Best display since Michael Antonio's 4-goal game as a midfielder.
Yeah, exactly.
So debates will rage on about who's better, Premier League striker.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll just let that one be settled at a later date. But exactly. I don't know. Good game, Leicester. Are you a little worried about this game, Cam?
I am a little worried, actually.
On a smaller picture.
I didn't bet on Man City, and this is a number where it looks like parlay material again with the leads.
Yeah, you don't get many better numbers for Man City than a 1.53.
I can see. Yeah. I don't know why, but I can just see Manchester City losing to Leicester. I don't know. I just kind of feel like that's the case. Plus, we just lost to United, and we had this international break. I don't know. I know City was obviously playing really well, but I think it's also because they were riding so high. They were almost, like I was mentioning in another pod, like unstoppable, like unbeatable. They really looked like that. But now with this big break, almost, I don't know, it's could have brought them down a little bit back to reality, and some teams could pounce on that. So yeah, Leicester's a good team. Maybe they have one of those 5-goal, it was 5-2 last time they played. So we'll see.
You got to think their City's priorities are rightfully elsewhere. And hey, you never know. Ihe Iheanacho's been on fire. Maybe he comes back to bite his old club.
Yeah, he just won the Player of the Month actually today.
Yeah. So there's the one good thing about Nate's fantasy team. He's got Ihe Iheanacho. All right, moving on to another corker of a game. Arsenal-Liverpool. If Liverpool wants to make the top 4, Sandy, away at the Emirates here, tough game. Is this a must-win? Do they have any chance of making the top 4?
I think so, yeah. Just eyeing up the table right now, doing my research, and the way Chelsea's playing right now, kind of rolling. kind of heating up. They're 5 back of them, and then 10 back of Leicester and United, which is a shit ton. The same gap as me to Cam right now in Fantasy Premier League. So I'll be cheering for them and hoping I can do the same. But it's a intimidating difference to make up with 9 games left. So I think they got to not win out, but like they got to get hot here and try and ride it out if they really want to have a chance of finishing top 4, I think.
Yeah.
No room for errors at this point.
Yeah. Never forget,
And-
Manchester United blew an 8-point lead with 6 games left in the 2011-12 season. So in that Aguero season. So anything's possible. When
That's
you lose,
true.
yeah, they lost 1-0 to Wigan in that run. So and then blew a 4-2 stoppage time lead and tied Everton. So yeah, still have nightmares about that end of the season. It was rough.
What year was that? What was that? They haven't won the title since then, have they?
Yeah, they won the title
That
the
was-
next year when they signed Van Persie.
Okay.
But
That's when Everton had Osvaldo.
that's when Everton had
season.
Yelovich and Fellaini.
To be fair, that wasn't mighty.
Yeah, Wigan were mighty.
Mighty Wigan.
Yeah, it wasn't just any old Wigan.
That was like FA Cup winning Wigan, wasn't it? Similar time frame.
I think they won the next year, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was prime
Same
Wigan.
moment. Yeah.
And Wigan comes alive at the end of the season, but every time back then because they were nailed on to be relegated and then come alive late in the season. Classic. So you don't want to be playing Wigan in May, that's for sure. On the Arsenal side of this thing, Keegan, so I've long been fascinated by the Arsenal strike partnership. They've got Lacazette, they've got Aubameyang, seemingly 2 of their best players. They rarely play together. They never play together up front. Is this a partnership that's going to last long? Like, are both those strikers still at Arsenal next season? I would say no. What do you think, though? I know you've been following Lacazette a little closer because he's on your fantasy team.
Yeah, I'd say surely not. I think if this is a betting perspective, you'd have the one to leave, I think would be the heavy betting favorite. And then both to leave would probably even be the next one. Then
Really?
both to stay would probably be the distant underdog, I think.
Wow.
Just don't see, like, I don't know. There's been those like rumors. I mean, you've had rumors for the past couple summers about, like they've been linked to different teams. And I mean, Arsenal probably not even going to make the Europa League this year. I mean, what's the point of staying? What's the point of staying on a non-Europa League team when you can't even play every game when you're a superstar? So I don't know. I just feel like it's also kind of just a poor reflection on Arteta in a way that he seems kind of stubborn and wants to stick with his system, the kind of 4-2-3-1 that he plays, maybe sometimes 5 in the back, but you never see 2 strikers. Strike partnerships just dying breed these days.
Yeah, it's a shame.
So I mean, I think surely one of them's bound to leave. And if they want what's good for their career, then surely they'll leave.
Yeah.
And they have combined for 20 out of their 40 goals this season. So I mean, I wonder what would happen if they both consistently played together.
We'll never know.
20. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. The other 20 have been own goals.
Yeah.
All righty. Yeah, that's actually a doozy of a Saturday. Leicester, Man City, followed by Arsenal, Liverpool. So
Yeah.
a nice welcome back.
Yeah.
You
I
can
wonder
sleep
if,
through the West Brom and Sheffield games, but that's it. Coach Cam, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was gonna say. I wonder if consistently Lacazette and Aubameyang played, and also consistently Xhaka and David Luiz played, if the total for most goals between Lacazette and Aubameyang would be higher than most total red cards between David Luiz and Xhaka.
Yeah,
I feel like it'd be pretty close.
If they all played, how soccer overs are always over under 2.5. I think if those 4 played, Arsenal games would have to be over under 3.5.
Yeah, 100%. Because you're either winning by a ton or you're losing by a ton after a couple of reds.
Yeah. All right, moving along to Sunday, starting off 4 a.m. bright and early for us West Coasters. Southampton, Burnley. Burnley did it again last couple weekends ago by beating Everton. Everton, man, you never know with them. Southampton's been on a bit of a downward spiral in the second half of the season, although they are through the FA Cup semi-final now.
Semi-final,
against Leicester. So I guess they've got that going for them. My question for you, Coach Cam, is very simple. Who's a better team, Southampton or Burnley? Who's better?
I think Southampton is.
Why?
I think Southampton's a better team because I don't know. They've had their downs recently, but I can't have that recency bias sway my decision here. I think Southampton's just the better team because they have a better core midfield. I think Burnley's really missing that. Burnley have players like Dwight McNeil and Brownhill. Is that he's on Burnley now? That I don't know. Aren't he plays Josh Brownhill. They're just not like. I think Southampton has such big success based on their midfield, and obviously like players like Danny Ings. But I think Chris Wood's just a huge part of Burnley too. So I wouldn't compare the strikers and their roles as much as the midfield and their role. Like Ward Prowse, Nathan Redmond, Theo Walcott, I think is coming back soon. So those players have been pretty good. And I think with a fully fit defensively, Southampton's back four is a little better than Burnley's back four. So
that's just false. That's patently false.
You think that's false? You think that's
so
you think
horrible.
And that's why I said a fully fit. When they were fully fit, I was preaching on how good Kyle Walker-Peters was. And then they get all these injuries, and there's no real coincidence on their defensive injuries and the fact that they've been doing poorly recently. I believe, unless you believe differently and you think that it is pure coincidence.
I would probably take Burnley's back line, to be fair. I think you're right about the midfield. I would probably take Burnley's back line just because they've got so much practice of just defending their hearts out. And Southampton's back line, I know there was some good stats, Cam, but I don't know how they were doing it with Vestergaard and Bednarik looking like Mertesackers out there, the slowest defenders in the Premier League. And then Bednarik had his month stretch where he about scored like 6 own goals and got sent off twice. So
yeah,
I would probably take Burnley.
Okay, that's fair.
McCarthy's goals against average been like a hockey goals game average. Like he's letting in like 3 a game whenever he plays.
They're definitely not in good form. Keegan, did you have?
I think it's tough to really compare their back lines though, because the way Southampton play, they just play a suicidally high line that leaves their back leaves their center backs often on islands, whereas Burnley are often we have 8 people behind the ball at all times. So it's tough to really compare their back lines in terms of quality because Burnley's back line's often in a much better position. But that's just what I have to say about it.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Is this line? I know Sandy's going to agree with this. Is this betting line a little disrespectful towards Burnley? 3.8, Southampton 2.05 in bad form.
I've never seen a line that wasn't disrespectful towards Burnley. The ought to make
This is where Burnley likes to be disrespected and written off.
Whoever's making these odds, maybe they got cut from Burnley. Maybe the Bet365 odds makers got cut from Burnley. Fuck these people.
Yeah. Danny Ings' cousin is making these lines.
Cam, I noticed you omitted a certain Che Adams from your list of quality Southampton players. Was that intentional, or are you just trying to get on my skin, or what?
No, I didn't want to get into the strikers too much. Okay. So I just was like, Danny Ings is world class. But yeah, Che Adams he's an okay player, I guess.
Scored for Scotland this international break, I believe.
I thought he was English. I didn't even know he was Scottish.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I heard on a podcast he scored for Scotland.
Yeah, I saw that. I just thought that he wasn't.
Yeah, no, I thought he was English too before that. Yeah. Hey, the more you know.
Him and McBurney.
Him and McBurnster. McBurney, who's going to be struggling next season in the championship, according to Sandy. Probably will be, yeah. All right, let's move it along. So Southampton, Burnley, I asked which team is better. Newcastle, Tottenham. I was going to ask you, Sandy, just whose fans are more fed up? Who's the more frustrated fan base between Tottenham and Newcastle? Newcastle got a horrible owner who doesn't spend money, manager they don't like, who makes excuses. Tottenham's kind of got the same thing, an owner who doesn't spend much and is notoriously difficult to deal with, and a manager who makes excuses. So which team's more fed up with which fans are more fed up with their team /manager /owner?
Yeah, I think they both have miserable ownership, and I'm sure both fan bases are absolutely gutted that the pubs are closed again, drink themselves to death this year. But I was thinking about this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but do Tottenham really have like a fan base? I feel like every Tottenham fan I know is just a fake fan. Like they're not really soccer fans. They don't really have like a good fan base. So I don't know if they have much to be upset about. They're just kind of like fringe. I don't know. Do you guys know any like actual Tottenham? Like I was thinking Dev Curry. I know a few guys from England that were kind of Spurs fans. They're never like the big soccer fans though. They're just kind of like, yeah, like I like Spurs.
Yeah, Spurs is kind of, well, I don't know, maybe especially in North America, Spurs is kind of like a hipster team to jump on.
Yeah, like maybe watch Bale banging a few goals like 5 years ago. Like, oh yeah, Spurs my team.
Yeah, that's probably what happened for the casual fan. So maybe, but I mean, I'm sure there's some hardcore Spurs fans in London.
I'm sure there's a few.
I think probably at least half of their global fan base is in South Korea.
South Korea? Oh, for
Really?
Sun. Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah.
I thought he just randomly pulled that out.
He just picked a random country.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not even making that up. Apparently, like in terms of like support for like one player, like Sun has like the most support for like players like that like bring in like a fan base. He brings in a massive fan base from South Korea for Tottenham.
So South Korea's been waiting. Yeah, South Korea's been waiting so long for one good player. So now they're all jumping on board. The entire country's in.
Mm-hmm. All the United fans that cheered for Ji-Sung Park are now Heung-min Son fans. Sun's probably a national hero. That doesn't surprise me at all, Keegan.
He was in the war, or he was not in the war. He was in the military. I meant.
He's in the war. Yeah, he did serve his military. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Tottenham should win that one, but Newcastle's got to start winning. This could be one of those famous Newcastle unexpected wins. So who knows about that one? Aston Villa, Fulham. If Fulham's going to stay up, Keegs, they got to start winning soon. This is probably a winnable game that they should be looking at and trying to win. Do we have any Grealish news, actually, Sandy?
He's touching grass, boys. I don't know.
Touching grass this weekend. He will walk on grass this weekend. There you go. Keegs, Fulham must win. Got to start picking up points.
I mean, well, yeah, they have to start picking up points. They're 2 points behind Newcastle.
And so they need to get 3 points if over the course.
They need to win one more game. They need to probably win one more game that Newcastle's going to win this season. But Newcastle have a game in hand, but fortunately for them, I was just browsing their remaining schedule. Fulham, including this game, probably have 4 winnable games down the line. I think each of them play Burnley. I think Fulham's got Wolves as well, and another, and I think Sheffield. And then they also, both of them meet on the final game, so I didn't include that in the 4 winnable games because it's winnable for either team. And Newcastle kind of only have 2 easy games left. They got a lot of top half teams remaining, so I think it's going to be tough for Newcastle, even though they have the game in hand and they're up by 2 points. So, I mean, I don't know. It's tough. And I know the betting line seems so friendly because it has Fulham as the favorites to stay up, even though they're down 2 points and 1 more game played, but they just got an easy schedule. So.
And you said they play each other on the final day in Newcastle, Fulham, right? That could be good.
My prediction going into that game, if there was odds for this, I feel like it would be decent odds, would be going into that game, Fulham's leading in the table by 3 points, but a Newcastle win. Actually, I'm not sure what their goal difference is, so it'd either have to be 3 or 2 points. But Fulham goes into the final day leading, but Newcastle wins the game and saves their promotion.
Gee, I thought it would be the opposite way. I could see going into the last day, Newcastle's up in the table and just needs a tie, and Steve Bruce is super boring and plays for the tie, and Fulham nicks the win. That's my prediction. And Newcastle fans go into absolute meltdown.
Well, I don't know. I just feel like Newcastle don't deserve to stay up, and Fulham do deserve to stay up, and usually it doesn't work out that whoever deserves gets what they deserve.
That's very true.
Do we know when Callum Wilson is going to be back for Newcastle? Because that's going to play a huge part. If he's coming back fit, then I can't see Newcastle going down.
Because when they don't have him, they literally just don't play any strikers. They'll just play like Helmer on striker.
Probably never play another game for Newcastle. Didn't he have a pretty serious injury?
Wilson?
Yeah.
I don't think it was like season ending, but I think it was like a couple months.
Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah, he's getting close.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know. At least we got something that hope should be an exciting relegation battle between those two teams. Like Keegs said, I think those are the only two teams in it. So hopefully it comes right down to that final game, and those are the fun games when it's all or nothing.
Unless they
to
both
stay in
win,
the Premier
they could
League.
drag Brighton back in. Could tease Brighton a little bit.
I don't think
They're
Brighton's getting
6
dragged
points
back in.
clear. Brighton
We'll move
do
on.
have the toughest difficulty fixtures in the whole league remaining, but Brighton can win against any team on any given day, so they should be fine.
Well, we can move along to Brighton because they're the next game, and yeah, Keegan, they finally looked good last weekend against Newcastle, 2 weekends ago against Newcastle, scoring some nice goals. Trossard in amongst the goals. I think Gross pulling the strings a little bit. Are they officially safe? And is this a worrisome game for Man United? I certainly think it is.
I don't know. I've been saying this all season that you can't really bet against Brighton because they can just, and you can't really. I don't know. It's tough to bet for or against them whenever there's a favorite involved. You got to take the underdog in their games, kind of like Leeds. But yeah, I don't know. I think they're probably safe with 6 points clear. I mean, it'll be tough to see Newcastle win enough games to pass them in the remaining fixtures. So I don't know. I think looking forward to next season for Brighton, as long as they keep their key players.
Yeah.
Trossard's the Zuma, who's really good, I think, and then Lamptey back fit, and then they sign a decent striker and keep their manager. I think they could be. I mean, the sports books have always loved Brighton as well because they're probably on board with the hipster expected goals kind of mentality. But I think next season, if you can kind of find them like to finish top half at plus money, I think that would be a no-brainer bet if they keep their players and stuff. I think they'll be good for a bounce back season.
And they'll be the team to sign Callum Wilson after Newcastle gets relegated. So that'll be perfect for them. On the other hand, Manchester United, and I've been waiting for a couple weeks to talk to you guys about this one because the last time we saw United play was against Leicester. The passing out of the back fiasco. Coach Cam, how many times have you seen a team start with a goal kick, play it short, and make 25 passes, pass through the whole entire team, and then go score a goal on the other team?
That's a really good question. I want to say that not that many. That's pretty rare because those goals are like, it got to be like the vintage Arsenal goals with Ozil, Ramsey, so like that with Giroud, like that team, or I guess Barcelona when they have Xavi, Iniesta. Like it's tough, or like PSG had a nice goal. Like, and there's not that many you can really think of passing out of the back from your goalie to your center back all the way up the field. 30, 40 passes.
Is that Arsenal team really what we call vintage Arsenal?
Well, they did score some nice passing moves. So
yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant by vintage. There's different vintages. That's one of the vintage Arsenal moments that I remember. And obviously, like the vintage Arsenal would be, that's a double vintage, Keegs. I only said single vintage. The double vintage Arsenal is the invincible. It's the single vintage is the Giroud, Ramsey, Ozil team.
It's like how I feel like if you go into a store and try and buy a jersey, it's like since teams have new jerseys every year, like a year old jersey is considered vintage. It's like, oh yeah, that's a vintage kit. That's 2018-19 kit.
Yeah, and then there's also classic kits. So
and retro kit.
And then we have retro. So it just depends what Arsenal you're looking at. I just went with the vintage, but you can go to classic or the retro. It's up to you.
We're off track. My point was, you don't see it too much that they start with the goalie and pass through the whole team and score. How many times do you see? How many times do you see a team try to pass out the back, mess up, and the other team scores?
I was just about to say that. I was going to say that I've probably seen more times a team put themselves under massive pressure. Whether it's conceding a close chance or a corner kick, more times than I've seen it be successful. And I'm not really sure. Like I understand why it's important and why teams try to do it, but I don't know. I think that I believe that every Premier League team or every top level team is able to build the ball out of the back, but then you have to take into consideration obviously your opponent and then how good your players are compared to your opponent. So like teams like Man City, are great at building the ball out of the back, but then they struggle against Liverpool, and vice versa. Liverpool is a great team, able to build the ball out of the back against most teams, but when they tried against City, Alisson gave the ball away, conceded goals. So I just think there's a time and place for it, and it is frustrating to watch when you know it's not working. It's almost like I'm sure you were the same against Leicester. Like you're saying, like, don't play the ball out of the back. Like that's literally ridiculous. Like, put the ball up the field, chip it to your fullback, play it to your striker to hold the ball, whatever you have to do. And then they just do it anyway. And there's and I think that's ridiculous when there's no, like, I don't know if it's I don't know. I'm not really sure what it is, but
I think the risk factor is way too high for the reward factor because like we've already, like the Fred goal, that we're talking about, Xhaka kicking it off Chris Wood and going in. We've seen Alisson have many mistakes this year trying to play out the
that
back.
Fulham player passed it into his own net, trying to when they're playing out the back.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think it was West Brom player
West Brom,
passed into his own net. Yeah. So just the amount of times we see it go wrong and the other team score. And I mean, I'm sure we notice a little bit less the times because it's like you notice mistakes more than you do build up. But I honestly don't think the risk is worth the reward. Anyone else have any thoughts on this?
I think it'd be an interesting study. Maybe if I find some free time this summer, I'll take a look.
Yeah, fair enough.
Write in a report, Rick. You said the expected goals. You have expected giveaways when building the ball out of the back for each team.
Yeah,
the expected goals conceded and generated from short goal kicks will be my study.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be some sort of stats behind it because like Pep's a smart guy and he always builds out of the back, does short stuff. But I don't know if Manchester United are just like, yeah, we want to be like Man City. We beat them when we play them, so we're better than them. But like they just can't do it, and it scares the bejesus out of me every time they try it. So hopefully this weekend, late Sunday, no Manchester United, no more passing out of the back on goal kicks. Win the first ball and then get the ball on the floor in the other half.
But actually, I just thought of this story, Liam. There's another time I just thought of. That's when Spain was playing and they won 2-1, and who are they playing? Kosovo or whoever they played, and they were building the ball out of the back, and didn't the goalie try to take a heavy touch and give the ball away, and the guy scored from half and chipped it into the open net. Like, it was just ridiculous.
Was that this international break? I think so,
yeah,
right?
This international break that just passed. Yeah, Spain won 2-1, and I was like, holy man, that was a close game. But when the highlight was on because they tried to build the ball out of the back, Spain gave the ball away. The goalkeeper took a heavy touch and gave the ball away. They went to slide and clear it, and then the player just received the ball and chipped him from half, like put it in the net. And I just think you're right. Like, the more you can think about it, I don't know. You're right. I think the risk reward factor isn't there, and usually the reward is like City or a team will build the ball at the back. Well, it's not like you build the ball at the back and then you go straight to scoring. It's not like you're countering to score. You build the ball at the back to relieve the first set of pressure, and then after that, you're keeping possession. So maybe that's why we don't notice. Like, it's not like you build the ball at the back and going straight to scoring. Sometimes it's you build the ball at the back and then 3, 4 minutes, 5 minutes later of possession, then you end up getting an opportunity. So
but I feel like you don't. What I'm saying is, I don't feel like you just keep the ball for all those 3 and 4 minutes, like from the back, right, and then score without the other team touching the ball. Like, I feel like play just happens. So I feel like the best thing that happens is, like you said, you escape the initial pressure and you keep the ball for a bit, and then maybe the other team wins it. So it's like the reward is having possession for like maybe a couple minutes, and the risk is letting a goal.
I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you completely. I don't think it's like, obviously there's a time and place, but not always.
Yeah. Fair enough. Moving along to Easter Monday, and this Everton team is impossible to get a read on. Sandy, on like we always say, you can never trust Everton. I think this is like the most stereotypical cannot trust Everton game at home, somewhat close to even odds against Crystal Palace. Surely none of us are taking them, are we?
Yeah, I'm going to take them. But
do it.
I'm going to take them for sure.
Let's not confuse that with me trusting them. I agree. Everton's kind of like in the Leeds boat now, where it's like, they're like a feisty, like you love them as underdogs. They can beat anyone, but you don't really want to invest too much in them. But I'm going to ride with them this weekend against Palace just because I don't like Palace at all. I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope for the best. Just ride that bull.
There you go. Wow. Brave man. Brave man. All right, yeah. Palace are boring, but I feel like this is the game where they muck it up enough to get a result.
Yeah.
So
I guess
I
like
was pretty close.
Zaha's
I was
back
pretty-
too. They got a little more fight,
Mm.
but just
There you go. I was
More of a
close to
bet.
betting Palace double chance, but I don't think I ended up doing it. So maybe if you stick with Everton, then they'll show up for you. Pretty random when they show up or not. Last game, Wolves West Ham, pretty good matchup here. I know Keegan, you maybe thought West Ham should have been bigger favorites.
Yeah. I don't know. Wolves are pretty bad. And I don't think that's a secret to anyone. So I think this is a good spot for West Ham. Could be a case of just another away team, which has been proven. Oh, sorry, that was my dog. Been proven profitable in the past.
Question for all of you guys. If I set the betting line at, so the question is who will finish higher in the Premier League next season? West Ham or Wolves? I'm going to set the line at 1.8 West Ham, 2.0 Wolves. Each of you, who do you go with? Coach Cam.
I'll go with the 1.8 West Ham.
Yeah, you think West Ham
Confidently.
finishes higher next season?
I think so.
Keegs?
Yeah, I'm also going to take West Ham. I think Jimenez might never play soccer at the same level ever again. So until they find a striker, they look hopeless, really. So I'll go with West Ham.
Sandy, you going to give Wolves any love, or are you going to make this a clean sweep?
No, yeah, I'm gonna make this a clean sweep, boys.
I actually think Wolves will be better next season, guys. I think West Ham, this is a classic. Can't trust them 2 seasons in a row. They had a really good season a few years ago with Payet, almost made Europa League, and then the next season they were back to being classic West Ham. I think Wolves are a bit more stable of a team. Although West Ham has really impressed me this year, I think Wolves just has more stability, but it'll be interesting to see. Should we get into the bets?
Sure.
Let's do it.
All right, Coach Cam, you were a winning man last weekend. Let's hear what you got.
Let me throw it up right now. I have them saved on my cell phone. Okay, so let's see. So I'm going to start with a parlay, and Aston Villa beating Fulham and Liverpool to beat Arsenal. I put $5 on that, pays out 25. I have a draw between the Wolves and West Ham game. I think that, I don't know. I know there's going to be a draw. I was going to go with, I don't know why. I was going to bet the City Leicester draw, but I thought I'm going to stay away from that. I'm going to trust City because I don't like betting against them. So I went with the West Ham and Wolves draw, $5 pays 16. I have 2 goal scorers, 2 parlay goal scorers. Obviously, void if they don't start. You got to click that box. All of listeners, please click the box. I have Raheem Sterling and Ollie Watkins because I feel like he hasn't scored in forever, right? So he someone on Leeds or on Villa has to score, and if Jack
Scored against San Marino.
There you go. And San Marino is the same as Fulham. So, and then my last one is a 3-team parlay. I have the under in the Burnley Southampton game, probably the safest bet in football, like we've said 100 times. The Burnley under, and then I have over in the City Leicester game and over in the Newcastle Tottenham game, and 5 pays out 32. And that's it. I've been pretty doing really well on the bet 20 and win just a little more. So hopefully it's another one of those weeks.
All right, I'll go next. I was, I think, plus 13 last week. Leeds came through. Thank you, Grandma. I only got 4 bets, and I didn't love this slate, so I'm not moving too much on this. I got Liverpool Arsenal to be a draw. I think the number 3.7. You just 2 pretty somewhat, well, maybe not even teams. That might be disrespectful to Liverpool to say that, but I don't know. Arsenal's at home, could get a result, so I'm going to go with a draw there at 3.7. $5 on that. I'm going to go. I thought the line was disrespectful. The Burnley line, as we spoke about, so I'm going with Burnley to win at Southampton. Continue some momentum. $5 on that at 3.8. And then I've got my double chance parlays. I'm going to go Arsenal winner draw parlayed with Burnley winner draw. So kind of doubling up on my 2 single bets there. And then I'm going to go Fulham or draw parlayed with Wolves or draw. I think Wolves muck it up at home here, boys, and out a draw. And parlaying them with Fulham, who really needs a result against Villa. Maybe Grealish doesn't play. So those are my 4 bets. Who is Keegs plus $9 last week? What do you got? You're muted right now though, so yeah.
Yeah, I'll take Liverpool over Arsenal. I'll take Southampton over Burnley, and I'll take West Ham over Wolves. I think those are 3 spots where it's kind of, you guys have kind of hinted that could be buyer beware, but we'll see what happens.
Going
Hopefully
against
2
me on
of
all
them
three of those,
fit
yeah.
and we'll make money. And then we're going to go under in Chelsea West Brom at plus money. And we're also going to parlay the over in the Man City Leicester. What was it, 4-2 last time they played? And we're going to parlay that with Chelsea to win and keep a clean sheet at home.
I do really like the Chelsea West Brom under at plus money. I think that's a good call.
That's all I have.
All righty. Sandy, looking get back on the bike, win a bet.
On the bike, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go Burnley Southampton under. I'm also gonna take Burnley straight up.
Nice.
West Ham, Everton, and Villa.
West Ham, Everton, and Villa separately or in a parlay?
Separately.
Oh, there you go. West Ham, Everton, Villa. Who likes the home teams, eh? Or I guess West Ham's an away team. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes, guys. Anything else? Those are the bets. Happy to have the Premier League back. I think that's about it for Banter Bets and BPL. Get those bets in this weekend. A long Easter weekend. I'm coming right off March break last couple weeks too, so I'm spoiled right now. Maybe tuning into some footy finally and hitting the golf. Anyone else have any Easter plans?
Nothing too big, but I actually just forgot. I'm gonna throw just
Cam's got a late bet.
Late bet. It's a late entry, slipped in, and I just remembered it. I'm putting $2 on West Brom to beat Chelsea. 15 to 1,
love it.
30.
Love
$2.
it.
I'll throw a toonie on there. I'll flick it up in the air, and it'll land perfectly onto West Brom for $30. So if you're out there, any West Brom players, score a goal and win me some money.
All righty, there you go. Yeah, welcome. Thanks for a good podcast, boys, and thanks for listening, guys. Welcome back, Banter Bets and BPL. We're finishing this season stronger than ever. We're going to be a positive betting podcast by the end of Game Week 38. You can bank on that, and yeah, stay safe out there, and keep betting, and I don't know, fade if you want, follow if you want, but telling you guys we'll be positive. All right, signing off.